So um, we're back with Lancer. We're continuing section 4, which is more or less the catalog of all in-game stuff you can select from, including mechs. We got through all of the pre-mech stuff yesterday, and we also looked at the first sort of starter mech you get, and now we're really getting to like the main meat of it. IPS North Star, your friend in an unfriendly sea. IPS-N was created from the merger of two civilian freight and transportation companies, Interplanetary Shipping and North Star. The resulting firm is a titanic entity, one of the first core pro states with a virtual monopoly over interplanetary and interstellar travel. Other firms exist, but their gross fleet strength is but a shadow of IPS-N's fleet of tankers, haulers, freighters, and interstellar liners. Wherever goods and raw materials need to be moved, we can bet a crew in IPS-N uniforms will be there. The story of IPS-N is inseparable from the history of interstellar piracy. Whatever dangers the galaxy might hold, piracy remains the greatest threat to interstellar shipping lines, costing fleet managers and sailors hundreds of thousands in mana and trillions more in local currencies. Tremendous capital loss, scheduled delays, losses of life, and false scarcity famines convince the myriad unions, conglomerates, and cartels of the need to comprehensively safeguard civilian shipping. A process of agglomeration and consolidation that lasted for years eventually gave birth to two major firms, Interplanetary Shipping and North Star. They finally merged into a single corporate state in the waning days of Union's first government, the first committee. And I'm guessing these are some of the IPS designs. That one in the back looks rather interesting. Following the merger, IPS-N began the work of phasing out its fleets of late model GMS mechs in favor of proprietary designs. The corporation now sports a range versatile, durable, and modular mechs that place equal priority on weapons and engineering systems. IPS-N mechs are a good choice for pilots who want a tough chassis that's built for close quarters and melee combat situations, such as when the possibility of breaching a ship hull is on the table. IPS-N chassis are sturdy, meant to take as much damage as they deal and then some. IPS-N is closely associated with the Albatross, an anti-piracy force known across the galaxy for its long history of interventions. IPS-N supports the Albatross materially, fighting it with ships, cutting-edge technology, and temporary rehabilitation worlds for its pilots and crews to retire in peace. The relationship is mutually beneficial. IPS-N makes a point to emphasize its close relationship to the Albatross in marketing campaigns and PR materials. So these are your core bonuses. IPS-N bonuses: increased durability, survivability, and melee combat capabilities. Must have 3 license levels in IPS-N licenses to take a bonus from this list, and another 3 levels for each additional bonus. For example, with 6 ranks in IPS-N licenses, you may have 2 bonus. So this one seems pretty powerful. The Brieros frame is the newest release in their line of near full frame upgrades. Templates designed to maximize max usability before catastrophic failure with the need for a reprint. It increases resilience of inorganic components by supplementing the structure with a super light frame featuring interwoven layers of IPSN's Goliath weave meshing. As long as your mech has no more than one structure, you gain resistance to all damage. When it's reduced to 0 HP and 0 structure, it's not destroyed. Instead, you must make a structure check each time it takes damage. While in this state, your mech cannot regain HP until you rest or perform a full repair. So this one just increases your size. This one lets you get a bonus on all hull checks and an additional threat on melee weapons. This one just gives you 5 HP. You get another armor. This one seems interesting. Titanomic key mesh. Double overlay of Goliath weave at key stress points and beefed up specifications across the board greatly improve the baseline functionality of any mech. Once around, when you ram or grapples a mech, you can ram or grapple again as a free action. Additionally, you knock targets back with melee attacks. You knock them back in additional space. So here's our first one from this company. Much more striking than the sort of generic all-purpose suit that we saw last time. So IPSN Blackbeard. The Blackbeard is IPSN's aggressive solution to piracy, a front-facing, force-striking mech designed for environments in which combustible kinetic weapons are useless, dangerous, or likely to cause collateral damage. With its slim frame, the Blackbeard doesn't just look fast, it also has a reduced radar profile. It's hard to track and harder to hit. The Blackbeard range comprises 2 lines, a standard production line model, and a limited release prototype built to house IPSN second class MHPs. So here you can see its stats. So this one does come with 1 armor. The one we saw last time had no armor. I think it has a bit more HP than the one we saw last time. Same repair cap. I think this is more or less the same. It has worse sensors, I think, and its defense is lower, and it does have a penalty for tech attacks. I think this is also a lower heat cap. So traits. It can grapple targets within 5 range. If the grapple is successful, a Blackbeard is immediately pulled. So it looks like it has some sort of wire. It's or hook. Most direct path. If there are no suitable spaces, the grapple breaks and you don't move. Lock kill subsystem. While grappling, you can boost and take reactions. That seems pretty interesting. A pretty hard deviation from what we've seen. Blackbeard receives a penalty on engineering checks and saved from having exposed reactor. Flex mount, main mount, and a heavy mount are what you can equip it with. Core system, assault grapples. The IPSN branded assault grappling system is a class-leading technology rated for hauling, supporting, and securing chassis up to Schedule 4. Grapple heads are interchangeable and can be swapped for engagement with softer hard targets. Omni Harpoon. This system fires grappling harpoons at any number of targets within 5 range and line of sight. Affected characters must succeed on a hull save or take 2d6 and be knocked prone. Then pulled adjacent to you or as close as possible. They become immobilized until their next turn. In a success, they take half damage and are otherwise unaffected. So these are the different licenses you can get for the Blackbeard. Since one, you can get like this chain axe, something to help with ramming. License 2, you can get a fish shot launcher. It looks like you've got bonus damage to grappled targets and sword. And at license 3, you get access to reinforced cabling. Which looks like lets you just attach your cables to objects, and then you can count as flying. Oh, and we're seeing this, which that variant was mentioned. So the Sekhmet class NHP, your mech gains the AI tag, and the Sekhmet protocol. The IPSN Sekhmet Copilot is ready to be your first mate. Sekhmet comes standard with remote, OmniNet, IR tag, and voice control systems, and is fully compatible with all current and legacy IPSN mechs. Did you know that Sekhmet learns with you? Should the worst happen, your very own Sekhmet will continue to engage hostile targets using an emulated neural net doppelganger to pilot your IPSN chassis until forced or voluntary shutdown. Draft copy. Structure and replace with current agile. Sekhmet class NHPs tend toward aggressive attitudes and dark humor. Pilots often call them berserker systems, dangerous NHPs that value combat, efficiency over pilot well-being. You like the flavor kind of story ideas for incorporating AI. Sekhmet protocol, when activated, you give control of your mech to your AI and give it the following benefits. All melee critical hits deal 1d6 bonus rounds. Once a round, you can skirmish with melee weapons as a free action. Your NHP uses all available actions and movements to move toward the closest visible character, allied or hostile, and attacks them with melee attacks, prioritizing melee weapons. It may benefit from your talents. If there are no characters within threat, your NHP uses all actions to move as directly as possible to the next closest visible target. Your NHP can't make ranged attacks even if there are actions available. You retain enough control to overcharge as usual. However, your NHP uses the additional action for the same purposes as its other actions. You can take control of your mech as a protocol. When you do, you become stunned until you start your next turn. Otherwise, this effect lasts until your mech is destroyed. The pilot's incapacitation or death has no effect. So it looks like we've got tanky guy for this one. The IPSN Drake. The Drake is IPSN's first foray into military-grade tech design. It's the backbone of any trade security or anti-piracy force. Its massive simulant frame is built around a single cast bulkhead. sustained to take heavy fire, and you can use it in space. The Drake is an imposing chassis, its frame evoking the might of ancient armored infantry from a time when greater numbers guaranteed victory. The standard fleet license for the IPSN Drake outfits these chassis with IPSN's high velocity, high projectile fragment assault cannon for suppressing and overwhelming targets, and a heavy kinetic ablative shield for defense. Advanced models feature upgraded weapons and armor, including the formidable Leviathan Heavy Assault Cannon, a high RPM anti-material weapon. So these are its stats. Compared to the last one we saw, it's got, I think 4 is the most you can have, even with talent. So this does start with a lot heavier armor. And it is a size 2 mech, which I think that's our first one seeing a larger. It's like it's got kind of standard E defense. It does have lower evasion and speed than the ones we've seen before. So it's heavy frame. It can't be pushed, pulled, knocked prone, or knocked back by smaller characters. And it's got resistance to burn and heat from area attacks. You've got a penalty on agility checks. So there's again a +1 negative. It's very counterintuitive. Guardian, you can use the Drake. Allies can use you for hard cover. And your core system, you deploy stabilizers, and you're a fortified emplacement. 2 sections of hard cover unfold from your mech. These cover sections have immunity to all damage. Additionally, you become immobilized. You benefit from hard cover even in the open, and gain immunity from knockback, prone, and involuntary movement. When you brace, you may take a full action on your next turn instead of just a quick action. Any character that gains hard cover from you or your cover sections gains, and also gains the benefit of your blast plating. It can be deactivated as a protocol, otherwise it'll last until the end of your current scene. So it looks like you've got sword or cannon and shield for your first license, shield generator and missiles for your second license, and a portable bunker, and we'll read this heavy assault cannon it mentioned. Like other super heavy weapons, the Leviathan can be used as a skirmish action. You spin up the weapon's barrels as a quick action. While spinning, it gains reliable 5 and 2 heat. And its damage increases to 4d6 plus 4. However, you become slowed and can no longer use the Leviathan with skirmish. You cease to use the effect as a protocol. I guess it does. So that's, but you can use it just as a normal attack for that. The Leviathan Heavy Assault Cannon is a massive multi-barrel rotary cannon fed by an external reservoir, usually dorsally mounted on the chassis. Carrying it unmodified, the Leviathan should only be fired within the recommended burst timing specifications to prevent percussive trauma to joints and pilots. In partnership with Harrison Armory's think tank, ISP-N is currently investigating remote solutions for the cannon's ammunition consumption. So here we've got one. This looks like a upscaled version of a sort of bomb dog. The IPSN Lancaster is a mil-spec variant of an older IPSN civilian transport chassis, streamlined for use in any theater. The Lancaster features multiple redundant systems and sophisticated interaction projectors to ensure pinpoint accuracy when engaging with delicate systems, whether damaged or intact. Lancaster pilots often adopt roles as sappers and engineers in the front line. Support sometimes ridiculed for piloting the old-fashioned frame by newer untested pilots. Veteran Lancaster jockeys know the truth. The Lancaster is one of the most reliable and well-made mechs out there. Indispensable on any serious long-range mission, not every mission is one with bullets, lasers, and bombs. Without engineers and their Lancasters, few of those hot shots would come back alive. So core stats, this is another size 2 mech. It's got less armor, very low HP, but it does have this very high repair cap. It's got high evasion for what we've seen and very high speed for what we've seen. Since I'm assuming all this stuff maxes out at 10, sensors are high, E-defense is high. It's got a bonus to tech attack and 8 structure points, and slightly above average heat cap. It has immunity to burn in combat repair. In combat, the Lancaster can use 4 repairs to repair a destroyed mech as a free action, returning it to 1 structure, 1 stress, and 1 HP. At your discretion, other characters adjacent to the Lancaster can spend its repairs as their own. And it looks like it only has the 1 mount, where typically we've seen 2 or 3. But that's a great kind of, I guess, medic feature, letting other people use your repairs. Core system latch drone. Pulling French pilots are recommended not to for due to their high casualty rate. Integrated mount latch drone. This weapon can't make normal attacks, instead choose an allied mech within range and line of sight and make a ranged attack against evasion 8 on a hit. Either you or your target may spend 1 repair to restore half your target's HP. Supercharger. What your latch drone clamps onto an allied mech within its range. For the rest of your scene, you take 1 heat at the start of each of your turn, but you're so literally, so they're literally doing the mercy mechanic there. So it looks like you've got a drone that lets your allies recharge, or you can tow like an allied character at level 1. At level 2, you can allow other mechs to ride you, but I think you become slowed. You can carry riders of a combined size equal to your size minus half. So you also have this sealant that you can spray on enemies to slow them, or clear burn from allies, but they'll be slowed for 1 turn. And at license 3, you can give overshield to an ally, or looks like we've got, you can use it, as a melee attack, but also it looks like you can clear the environment. So I'm guessing this one's a smaller one due to the scale here. the IPS Nelson Striker. It's the purest embodiment of the close quarters doctrine espoused by its manufacturer. It is built to brawl, thriving when ordnance has been exhausted or when the environment is too volatile for firearms. With its functional size, Nelson can strike fast and remain a difficult target to track. Layers of fractal-filled armor, lock plating with ceramic carbon flaking properties effectively nullify the impact of incoming ballistics. By dispersing energy across a rounded hull, the Snell K defense protects its pilot from impact trauma, allowing for sustained combat efficiency in high-trade scenarios. The Nelson is the iconic IPS-N chassis known across the galaxy as a favored frame of the Albatross, the nomadic order of cosmopolitan peacekeepers. The Albatross's distinctive white, gold, red livery, master of the warpike, and apparent agelessness due to time dilation, has won them both and the Nelson a venerated place in diaspora and lore, and secured an endorsement contract with the IPS-N in perpetuity. So size, doesn't have as good of sensors, has like okay defense and like okay structure points. And that's a slightly higher heat cap. It's very evasive, but just average speed, normal HP, and a normal repair cap. You've got momentum. Once per round after you boost, you get bonus damage. Skirmisher, after attacking, you can move immediately in one space in any direction as long as you're not immobilized or slowed. This movement ignores engagement and doesn't provoke reactions. So it looks like you've also got two mounts, a flex mount and a main auxiliary mount. And your core system. Skirmisher, for the rest of the scene, Skirmisher will move 4 spaces instead of 1 space. So at tier 1, you have access to something that lets you ignore difficult terrain, and you also get your trademark warpike. At level 2, you can brace while grappling. If you do, any grapples against you will end. Additionally, you'll make penalty. You also can add charges to your melee weapon that'll let you have bonus damage when you hit. Level 3, you have access to power knuckles, which will knock your target prone if you hit with them and they fail a check. You can also boost into people for additional knockback. So this one is another striker. Sing GMS's and Harrison Armory's push to secure a whole fleet line contract with your member states. IPS-N launched a brief foray into design production on their own main battle line frame. Enter the Raleigh, the stylistic and design oddity for IPS-N, designed not as a specialist, but as a purpose-built close-range mech. The Raleigh fell to stun potential clients and trials. The favorite of test pilots due to its unique styling and agility. The Raleigh saw few fleet orders, and after a brief run as IPS-N's flagship was quietly rolled back and replaced with the Tortuga. No longer offered as a fleet contract, the Raleigh enjoys a quiet popularity among pilots seeking a well-balanced, if close-range, wide mech. So it looks like it's got quite good sensors, slightly lower E defense, tech attack penalty, seems like a quite low SP, size 1 and armor 1, with higher than normal HP, normal repair cap, normal evasion and speed. Traits, if you haven't made any attacks or forced any saves, it can reload all its weapons as a free action. And you can still make ranged attacks when jammed. You've got 3 mounts, a double auxiliary mount, a flex mount, and a heavy mount. You've got an integrated weapon, which can be fired as a free action if you reload any other weapon. You also can spend a core point to spin it up. You can put 2 rounds into it. It can hold a maximum of 6 rounds. When you fire it, all chambers fire simultaneously, dealing 4 per loaded round. You can also gain AP. So, license 1. License 2. Sorry, running out of time. Looks like you get a melee weapon for license 3 and AI assistant. So the Tortuga. The Tortuga is ISP-N's short to medium range line of mechs. Conceived, tested, and perfected in the void of deep space, the Tortuga was made to breach and clear carrier decks, hostile station environments, and the spinal columns of capital ships. It excels at occupying space and filling hallways with its angular bulk, often acting as a walking battering ram by boarding parties and marines, but the Tortuga defends just as effectively as it attacks, using its broad plates of armor to shield itself and enemy allies. So this is another size 2 mech. It's got medium armor, normal HP, a slightly higher repair cap, slightly lower evasion, low speed, very high sensors, high electronic defense, and a slight bonus to tech attack. I think that's average SP, slightly higher than average. You have access to a main and heavy mount. Sentinel, you get a +1 to all attacks made as reactions, and Guardians, allies can use you as hard cover. ISP-N security teams are no strangers to the dangers of ship-to-ship or ship-to-station boarding actions, head corridors, unstable gravity, dark environments, hard vacuum, and the potential dual threat of both organic and inorganic opposition make boarding actions the most statistically deadly engagement. According to ISP-N's internal metrics, even the winning side should expect 30% casualties. Hoping to lessen the cognitive burden on pilots and any NHPs installed in their chassis, the ISP-N developed the Watchdog Copilot. The Watchdog is a simple subsentient partition, a flash homunculus of aggregated intelligence generated from thousands of after-action reports from boarding actions, debriefing, and volunteer donors, not an NHP nor even a CompCom. The Watchdog is a robust tactical program similar to a smart weapon. That said, its ability to operate without cycling presents certain advantages. Namely, these copilots have some capacity to learn to make best guess predictions based on analysis of their pilots. Watchdogs tend to have plain personalities to whatever extent they can be said to have one, and are a favorite of pilots looking for a no-nonsense attitude and crisp, efficient counsel. The Watchdog system is currently under review, but no formal stay on production has yet been issued. And that allows you to enter hyper reflex mode for core point for the rest of the scene. If you have less than 3 with a ranged weapon, increase it to 3. Once around, you can make an additional Overwatch reaction. Any character you hit with Overwatch becomes immobilized till the next turn. So at rank level 1, you've got a ram and a shotgun. You've got a hammer and area of attack weapon on license 2. And on license 3, looks like you've got like more powerful ammunition, or you can deal half damage and become slow to get resistance. So this will be the last mech for today. Thought we'd be able to get through 2 companies, but really looks like we'll be getting through 1 a day. And I think due to the scaling on this one, definitely looks like it's a smaller one. So IPSN Vlad, controller / striker. The Vlad is the second iteration of IPSN's legacy Nissan Shin model, first made famous by Albatross pilots in the Celestine campaign during the fall of the Second Committee. With the wealth and quality of data generated by the Albatross in that conflict, IPSN produced the Vlad, a frame-upgraded spiritual successor to the Nissan Shin and deserving of a new line designation. The Vlad, as soon did before it, shares much of its design philosophy and ancestry with IPSN's early asteroid mining frames. Much of its standard armaments take imposition from the early efforts of resourceful miners to convert tools into improvised anti-piracy weapons. Lately, its frame emphasizes redundancy, toughness, and component universality, allowing it to operate with outstanding self-sufficiency for long and or dangerous deployments. Heavily armored, the Vlad suits a frontline role where it can absorb fire from dangerous targets while lining up the perfect shot. So size 1, medium armor, slightly higher save target, but lower sensors. Medium, I don't think we've seen much below, 1. We've seen 1 mech with lower than 8, but it does have a pretty heavy tech attack penalty, and I think that's on the lower side of SP that we've seen. Heat cap is 6, which is slightly higher, evasion 8, which is normal, speed 4, which is a little bit on the slow side. It's got a low repair cap and normal armor traits. Dismemberment. When the Vlad inflicts Immobilize on another character, the target also becomes shredded for the same duration. Strike armor. When a target within 3 range attacks the Vlad, the attacker takes 1 armor piercing damage. Flex mount, main mount, and heavy mount for its mounts. Seems a bit on the heavier side. And its core system is Strike Armor, primarily a defensive modification. Strike Armor bristles with hardened spikes, a nod to the Vlad's namesake. Strike tips are strategically placed in areas with high likelihood of kinetic encounters, gauntlets and manipulator joints, shoulder plating, and so on. Strike armor is uncommon among pilots from the core and is considered a mark of underdeveloped and, if terrifying, tactics. Tormentor Spines, 1 CP, protocol for the rest of the scene. You gain resistance to all damage originating within 3 range, and the Strike Armor deals 3 AP instead of 1. License 1, you get a lance and snare that you can deploy. License 2, you can launch caltrops and you get a nail gun. The Impaler's non-combustible sabot-jacketed two-stage macro flashettes can pierce even the heaviest armor. One catapulted from its launcher, the sabot disengages on approach to its target and triggers a second stage. Propulsion drives the macro flashette forward with incredible velocity. Over-penetration is certain against soft targets. The IPSN advises firing this weapon only when the area behind the target is clear of allies or non-combatants. License 3, you get a drill. So I'm sure this would be the favorite for any Gurren Lagann fans. And you get a charge stake, which takes a full action to use. Descended from blast mining tools, this enormous improvised system is housed and prepped to fire. It penetrates and immobilizes armored targets and sends a powerful vaporizing charge into internal systems. So this looks like, well, a short preview of what we'll have tomorrow. These look a bit more elegant, a bit more not heavy front line. So we'll take a look and see how those compare tomorrow.